Hi and welcome to U218. My name's Jeff Horne and this is a review for the 2019 version of Pet Sematary. I have an admission to make. I've never been to Nando's, I wouldn't know Baby Shark if I heard it, and I've never read a Stephen King novel or a novella. I've never read any of his work. I've seen pretty much all of the films that have come from his work, but I've never read any of his books. So I can't tell you how faithful this is to the book. I know that there's a crucial change. The names of the characters in this don't mean anything, so I'm not going to use them. Pet Sematary stars Jason Clarke and John Lithgow in a supporting role, and some other people that I didn't recognise. I've looked them up and I haven't really seen them in anything before, but the essence is that a small family, so mum, dad, about an 8-year-old I think, girl, maybe she's a bit older, and like a 2-year-old boy move from Boston to sort of rural Maine to get away from the hustle and bustle of life and to start a new life in this quieter location. They have a cat. John Lithgow is the neighbour who lives next door, although this is America, this is rural, so next door is kind of 200 metres away. That's the closest neighbour. Their cat dies not long after they get there. John Lithgow, who's grown up in this town, shows the dad that there is a way that he can get the cat to come back to life, and he does so. From there, things go bad. I cannot say anything more about the plot without describing key features of the plot, so I'm not going to. I'm going to tell you whether it's worth going to see, and yes, it is. The thing with horror films, and horror thriller is a genre that kind of mixes, particularly when a horror film is trying to get a large audience. Pet Sematary is a 15. It could quite easily be an 18, but it's not. It's gone for 15, which is kind of the safer option. And to be honest, these days you can show quite a lot in a 15 rated film anyway. If I sit and think about it, 20 years ago Pet Sematary would have been an 18. But it's a 15 now, and that's just the way things are. The bread and butter of a horror film is the jump scare. It's a really effective but lazy way of getting the audience to feel something, and it's to feel fear. So you're sat there watching and something suddenly jumps out at a character, usually accompanied by a thrash of the soundtrack and a jump scare. Quite often it's a cat. The cat false alarm, and then the false alarm of something falling off a shelf, and then the genuine thing of someone being stabbed. You know, that doesn't happen in this, but you know, that's your standard jump scare, kind of how it works. I think the measure of a half-decent horror film that's been written with some intention is how many jump scares does it have, because they're so lazy, you can just shove them in anywhere. And Pet Sematary has some, but I didn't feel overwhelmed by them, which is good. It is a genuinely creepy film, particularly in the second half, and that's down to some performances. The girl, not going to give anyone's names anymore, is very good, and the mum is also very good in a surprisingly kind of complex role, and the dad is solidly good as well. The neighbour is really, really effective, but then he would be because of who he is. There's a supernatural element which I can't talk about because that will explain the plot. It's from a Stephen King film, so you know enough about Stephen King probably to know what his films are, and they are of a type, and this is of that type. It fits in pretty well with the canon of Stephen King adaptations that I've seen in my life. It's not as good as Misery, it's not as good as The Shawshank Redemption. In my view, it's better than Carrie. I never really liked Carrie, the original one. The remake, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen It. I haven't seen the original or the new version of It, so that I get the feeling that would be a better one. This was a preview screening, by the way, for Cineworld. They do this sometimes. I think it comes out at the end of this week for proper. And if you were to look at the films that are on now, you would think, yeah, I'll go and see that, and you'd be right to see it. There's nothing wrong with Pet Sematary. A good couple of hours entertainment. You'll leave it having been scared. You'll have enjoyed it. You probably won't need to see it again, but that's true of most films, isn't it? Really. So in summary, the 2019 version of Pet Sematary has got some scares. It's made pretty well. The performances are good, the direction's okay, the writing's pretty good really for this sort of film. Should you go and see it? Yeah, why not? Leave a comment. Tell me Tell me more about Stephen King films. So I haven't seen Christine. I haven't seen. There's a load of films that are based on Stephen King novels that I haven't seen. What one's your favourite? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want. Dislike if you want. And I'll see you soon.